Okay, all right. Anthony, would you like to start recording?
Already done.
All right. Hey, Janendra, everyone. This is Jainism Stress Management Workshop, session 6. This workshop has been divided into 4 parts. First part was about understanding what the stress is and learning the definition of stress. Second part is about understanding the causes of stress. What are the causes of stress? Third part would be about what are the consequences of stress, and then in the fourth part, we're going to cover how to manage the stress. So now we are in the second part. We are about to begin the second part, which is what are the root causes of stress. So let's see. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Who else have joined the call?
चप्पल रख नीचे हैंड में नहीं पहनो चप्पल ठीक शूज पग में पहनना चाहिए
Hello, who joined the class?
This is Pritesh.
Hey, Pritesh.
Hi, Prerit.
Okay, all right. So I'm sharing my slides, showing the presentation, and everyone can see it.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So this is, as I mentioned, part 2 of the workshop we are about to begin, which are the causes of stress. So first again, I would like to offer our salutations to all the Arihantas, Siddhas, Acharyas, Upadhyayas, and Sadhus, through which we have attained and acquired this knowledge. They have imparted this philosophical knowledge to us. So, okay, let's do a little bit of recap. So now let me ask you this question. Now, is there anyone who does not understand the definition of stress now? Is the definition of stress very clear to everyone now? Can you visualize stress now? Remember earlier when we started this workshop, we came to realization that we couldn't find proper definition of stress. So now, what do you think? Can you visualize stress now? You think it's you have much more clear understanding about the definition? Anyone? Anyone? Yes? No?
Yes, so I mean, what I got from this session is like because of our wrong belief, we have those kind of stress. And what I started to believe is this, like, I mean, whatever happened with us is due to our karmas only, and nobody can change anything to our life. So whatever we are suffering, we are because of our karmas, and as soon as the karmas are over, it will get right.
Yeah, but keep in mind, we very much made it clear last time that karmas are also pudgal, right? It's other substance. And one substance cannot bring stress to other substance. So one substance cannot do anything to other substance. So karmas don't really bring stress. It's our own wrong belief and our kashayas that bring stress. And karmas is the parallel event that we see. Karmas don't bring stress actually. Karmas may generate different type of situations, but be stressed out through those situations or not. It's our own individual choice. So keep in mind, karmas cannot bring stress. Karma is a pudgal substance.
Because
And
of
who we
karma,
are.
what I mean to say is, like, because of karma, we are in different situations which is not maybe alike or pleasant, and due to those things, we may face like stress. But yeah, as you said, right? I mean, all those things are because of our wrong belief.
Yes. So karmas, yes, do generate different type of situations, but whether we call it a good or bad situation, that is because of our own wrong beliefs, what we call them. I mean, the liking and disliking occurs due to our own individual kashayas and wrong beliefs. So karmas, yes, karmas are there, and when we get stressed, then we can call karma instrumental cause, but they are not the real cause, and they are not the root cause. When you get stressed out, when we get stressed out, when I get stressed out due to my own flawed philosophical thinking or wrong beliefs and kashayas, then and then, whatever the present circumstances are there present, they may be called external cause or limit. Like for example, if I lost my iPhone. Now, if I'm attached to my iPhone, and if I think that losing my iPhone will give me a stress, and then due to that I have anxiety, then that circumstances of losing the iPhone is considered a limit because I got stressed. But if I didn't get stressed for some reason, then it's not even a limit because we didn't even get stressed. Karmas don't bring stress. Just keep that in mind. But yes, karma can be considered a limit. Is this clear to everyone? Okay, so once again, let me ask you this. So people who joined later on, is the definition of stress any clearer than before? Start with the first session. Who else have joined the call? Okay, so we will assume that the definition of stress is very clear. And what we, as Ankur mentioned, it's because of our own wrong beliefs and kashayas that stress is generated. So now, knowing that the wrong beliefs and kashayas are the prime reasons for the stress, we will dissect what the wrong beliefs are and what the kashayas are. So in this session, we are going to go into the details of those. Okay, so we are going to consider the causes of stress. Everyone remember this diagram, which is called state of extreme stress. Saurabhi here online? Saurabhi, are you here? Saurabhi? Okay. All right. So state of extreme stress is basically worldly soul with the wrong beliefs. When we have wrong and limited knowledge, when we have wrong beliefs along with that, that leads us to have extreme passions, and that leads us to extreme unhappiness. All of them is going on simultaneously. Now, you can divide the state of extreme stress into the state of extreme stress under two substates. So one is called state of contained extreme stress. Other one you can call state of uncontained extreme stress. So now we are going to divide this state further and look further what is called contained and uncontained stress. Okay. Now, before we do that, let's cover something else. Most of the time, when you talk about stress and the causes of stress, whether you go to any workshop or whether you think on your own about the reasons of stress, you find these habits that we may have in our lifestyle that may be leading us to stress most of the time. Like we can talk about these habits in so much detail with examples. I would like to come back to these habits once we finish this session. It would make more sense. But right now, I'll just still go ahead and list those, what they are here. This is what we find most of the time that most people talk about. Irrational goals and unrealistic expectations from life. Improper prioritization of priorities in life, things or tasks in life. Lack of proper time management, not being able to devote the time according to the priorities, and managing the time properly, wasting the time. Irrational decision making, decisions that are made without proper and careful thoughts can lead us to stress most of the time. Unwise spending habits, basically irrational spending and acquiring debt can also lead to stress. Unhealthy lifestyle a lot of times leads to stress that we see. These are the things that we see and we observe most of the time. And then trying to fulfill irrational societal expectations. Society has their own societal expectations that one individual should do or live this way or that way, and not thinking them through and trying to meet those expectations, and take the burden upon ourselves can also be the reason for stress. And finding faults in others, the habit of finding faults in others and not being able to introspect our own behavior, harboring jealousy and grudges, unresolved conflicts, and following wrong idols and ideals in life can also lead to stress. Now, if you think about it, in reality, these are actually not the real reasons of stress, but they are actually consequences that are arising from the absolute causes of stress. What are the absolute causes of stress? We are going to cover in this upcoming sessions. However, these things they tend to aggravate the stress in life, and therefore that's why we call them the relative causes of stress. Those are the habits that we have been gotten into. Not everyone may have this habit, but one or other habit may lead to stress in life, which may aggravate the stress. Stress is already there because of the absolute causes, but it may aggravate the stress. So we can talk about these things with examples later on when we get to more details. But any questions up until this point?
Why did you call it extreme stress?
Extreme stress is because these things basically leads us to extreme anxieties in life. And we will when we go to the next slide, it will become clear. So we are dividing the state of extreme stress into two basically stages. One is uncontained extreme stress. So, and the other one is contained extreme stress. So according to Jainism, when we have wrong beliefs, or what we call in Jainism is called mithyatva, which is wrong understanding about our soul and who we are and what makes us happy. Along with that, there are intense passions or intense kashayas that in Jainism you can call anantanubandhi kashayas. In the presence of those kashayas, those behaviors lead to basically unlimited anxiety or anantanubandhi dukh, basically anant dukh, as we saw. And at times, it may lead us to the behavior that we may think we are enjoying. For example, hunting or some of the other cruel and violent activities. A lot of people do see that people seem to enjoy it. Even sometimes people may cause murder and may not regret it, may enjoy cold-blooded murder. But that doesn't mean that it's not stress. So what we are calling them is this part here, this left side of this chart, where you have wrong belief is always there in the contained and uncontained stress both. And anantanubandhi kashayas are there too. But along with that, in the uncontained state of extreme stress, you have these type of violent, unethical, and immoral behavior and expression. They're expressed. They're there, and that leads to further causing the downward spiral in person's life. So I'll give you guys a minute to have a look at this chart.
So, what is the problem with alcohol, Prerit?
So alcohol, what it does is, when alcohol is a nimit, right? It's an external cause or a nimit or instrumental cause. That when one consumes alcohol, we lose our mental and physical balance. We can't control ourselves, and our mental judgment also gets diluted. So alcohol, and also it's very, very harmful for life, right? So here, when we go into the violence, when we talk about violence in the uncontained stress, then we can talk more about why it's classified here, or is classified here in uncontained extreme stress, according to Jainism. So first, let's familiarize ourselves with the overview of this chart.
And Prerit, how non-vegetarian food causes extreme stress?
Yes, we will talk about it just in a minute. Okay, so everyone agrees so far. Let me ask this. Everyone agrees so far that wrong belief and kashayas do bring stress.
Yeah.
Now, what do those kashayas include? do they include cruel and violent behavior, or they do not include cruel and violent behavior?
That is part of it.
That's part of it. How about ethical and immoral behavior? Would that be a part of it?
Unethical or ethical?
No, unethical and immoral behavior.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, someone may enjoy it, right? Someone may enjoy it. Then would you call it not a stress, or would you call it a stress?
Well, definition of what is the definition of enjoying it?
Enjoying means that person believes that he likes it.
Yeah, so the belief is wrong here itself, because they are still under stress. They don't realize that, because when they, this is just a momentary thing that they feel that they are feeling good about it, but at the same time, they don't realize what's actually happening and what are the consequences of it. That's going to cause more and more stress to them, actually.
Correct, very true. So then, according to what we just discussed, this extreme form of violence would be considered under stress, right? Gross form of violence, and we will talk more about what the gross form of violence is. In general, you agree that the cruel and violent behavior would be part of stress. Now, the immoral and unethical part, which is deceitful truth, gross stealing, and adultery or excessive sexual desire, would also be part of that immoral and unethical behavior that we just talked about, and just identified that is an also extreme form of stress. How about unlimited desire to possess so much at any means? Could be unethical means, or possess anything and everything at any cost. That be a stress?
It's a lot of stress.
A lot of stress. So then we just concluded that all of these type of five immoral and unethical behavior, such as extreme violence, deceitful untruth, gross stealing, excessive sexual desire, including adultery, and limitless greed or possessiveness, are identified as extreme uncontained form of stress, right? Would you agree?
So, Prerit, here, limitless greed, you said, or possessiveness, it is such a relative definition, because whoever thinks of it, they are going to think that I'm not thinking limitless greed. I just want this much, and this much, and this much.
Correct.
Other people will probably need more. I don't need more. I just need this much, and that could be 10,000 crore, whatever. It could be 100 million, whatever.
That's true. Still, there is some definition that we can apply to it, to Jainism. And when we get to that slide, I think we can talk more about it.
Okay.
Yeah, there are examples. There are
I agree. I actually have that same same question what Pritesh has asked.
Yeah, definitely. Let's address that question when we get to that slide. Here, let's just learn the overview overall classification of the behaviors. Let's learn that first, and then when we get to that slide, we will talk in more detail. Saurabh ji here? Saurabh ji?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Jai Jain and Saurabh ji. Okay, Saurabh ji, here we are talking about the state of extreme stress according to Jainism, and we have divided this state of extreme stress into two parts. One is uncontained extreme stress, and the contained extreme stress. Now, so long we have a wrong belief in mithyatva and passions, we are in a state of extreme stress according to Jainism. But in uncontained state of extreme stress, the person also displays these immoral and unethical behaviors such as 5 mahapap and saptavyasam, 7 addictions that are identified in Jainism. So that's what we were just talking about here. Now, the root cause of this contained or uncontained stress is wrong belief, mithyatva. Now, Saurabh, would you be able to explain us this form of extreme violence? Now we are going to go into the detail of this 5 immoral and unethical behavior. So if you have a particular question about a particular type of behavior, then please raise that question there. Okay. Like for example, Pritesh talked about alcohol. We'll talk about here. So Saurabh, would you please explain us this form of extreme violence? Slide.
Okay, form of extreme violence, international or avoidable violence, intentional or avoidable violence of living beings with 2 to 5. Wait,
2 to 5 sentences.
wait, I'm just adjusting my screen. Mm. Mhm. Mm. 2 to 5% through mind, body, and speech. Doing by itself, making others to do also. Do you know in Jain religion are the main principles of Jain religion is non-violence. Non-violence is that if a person is in anger, if person wants to kill someone, so how is it possible if you give speech to him? If you just give advice, good advice to him, he won't be able to listen. If you take the example, an example of just Iraq or just Syria, etc., these kind of countries, you will notice that those countries which are having a violence in its nature, violence in its just a food habit, violence of family, and there is no any specific spiritual thought. So these all countries are suffering from extreme violence, and lakhs of people are just killing by this violence. Uh, in last 10 years in Syria, 1,50,000 people, innocent people, were killed by just terror. So first of all, uh, we have to notice our habit of eating things. If we take an example of a person who is eating meat or he's just drinking, definitely he will have a violent nature. Sometimes you can say that that I have met so many people, they're non-vegetarian, they are just taking regularly wine or just these kind of thing, but they are having very cool and calm nature. But it's not true. If they just got anger, so their anger is the extent of to kill someone. I'm telling you an example of Indore. There was a person named Siddharth Jain. Siddharth Jain belongs from Jain community. Parents were very decent. They're religious. But Siddharth Jain was just had a habit of eating meat, regularly taking just drinking, and he had bad friends. Do you know what he planned? He was a single son of parents. His parent had lots of property. So once upon a time, he demanded that, father, give me just 50 lakhs rupees. I want to start new business. And father told, no, I won't be able to give you more money because you have just spent so much. What the business you have established, now I cannot trust on you. You know, his son has planned to kill them. He planned, and just he appointed two professional killer, and they killed them. It means Siddharth Jain decided to kill his father and mother. So it is a result when just it was the incidents came in the knowledge of Jain community, and Jain community tried to know the reason behind it. So all Jain community was was aware about that Siddharth Jain was regularly just taking just drinking and eating meat. His company was not so good. Right now he's in prison for a lifetime. It means after 20 or 25 years he will come out from there. So it is the result. In our food habit directly affects our mind. Our food habit directly affects our day-to-day activities. For example, if you just take a heavy meal, definitely you won't be able to study anything which is difficult. Why? Because if you take a heavy meal, you will have to just sleep for 1 hour, 2 hours. That is why our Muniraj only takes meal on one time in the evening, because extra excessive meal and extra calories meal, it provides you slumbering inactiveness. So one point is very clear, that our food habit directly affects our body and mind.
Saurabh, I have a question.
Mhm.
In other words, could you also say that that only when we have such a cruel intentions, a cruel kashayas, a cruel state of mind, then and then one would do those type of or consume those type of non-vegetarian products or lifestyle?
Yeah, of course. A person who is having a triple kasai, definitely he will adopt these kind of habits. Do you know? Okay, Ketan ji and Pritesh ji, they are doctor. It's normal. They just operate and they usually see blood and flesh. But if we talk about normal person, so we are unable to see blood. We are unable to see meat. We are unable to see any kind of just these kind of things. It means we are unable to see these kind of things. We cannot kill anyone. Even we cannot. Those person who are just taking meat, they cannot directly kill any creature. So that is that meat is not suitable to see even, and they are just eating. So definitely it is the result of extreme kasai if someone takes meat.
Yeah. So what Saurabh is trying to say is that if a person ever visits a slaughterhouse or sees an animal being slaughtered, he will not be able to consume that meat again. But yet he or she is able to eat eat the flesh or non-vegetarian diet with such a cold-blooded mentality. That just shows the extreme state of kashayas that the person may be going through. Although he may appear very calm and very happy, or he may appear very nice person, but that doesn't mean doing a cold-blooded killing or violence doesn't mean that it's not a stress, and it's definitely a very extreme form of kashayas.
Actually, I just saw a video recently where they were playing a prank actually on everyone, and was about about meat actually. They were like, "Oh, this is the new meat they are selling," and everyone was like, "Okay, okay, that's good. Give me more." And when they ask for more, they actually take a baby pig and actually uh, they pretend as if they are killing the baby pig, and then they are giving the meat, and everyone disliked it. Everyone, they were like, how cruel are you, how can you do this? But those were the same people who were asking for more meat.
Yeah.
So
The hypocrisy, right? One time people may want to save millions of dollars for their dog, and sometimes people write will for their dogs here in America. I've seen it. And but on the other hand, they will not hesitate to consume flesh of another living being, another animal. The hypocrisy. And we're not talking about any individual, okay? Here, this is about behavior in general. We are not talking about any particular individual in general, okay? This is more about, and this is more about not even introspecting others. This is about introspecting ourselves. That's what we are talking about. We want our own improvement. We want to come out of stress. Now let's identify some of the non-vegetarian lifestyle. Slaughtering or hurting humans, animals, or insects for food consumptions or consumer products, or for any other reason, would be considered a non-vegetarian lifestyle, including non-veg diet, which includes meat, pork, fish, steak, seafood, insects, flesh, and so on. Right? You can't even list it. The list goes so long. Any food item that even has a minute traces of animal ingredients, and you have to be very careful. Nowadays, even in breads, and you won't even, one time I found even my peanuts contain gelatin. Would you ever think the peanuts contain gelatin? Even peanuts, where they do the salted peanuts here, they even that had gelatin. So any ingredient that even has a minute trace of animal ingredients is considered non-veg diet. And person is negligent to, a lot of times. Let me clear out one other misconception. A lot of time people think that if I don't know about it, I should be okay. And I'm not. Since I don't know about it, I'm ignorant about it, and that's okay. I'm not doing it intentionally. But a lot of times people don't even want to know, and the reason for it that is their belief that if they don't know, then they're excused because ignorance is bliss. It's not so. Because think about it, the person who wants to find out and wants to be aware of these things and wants to avoid, at least their passion is of a low intensity, that they want to be aware and they want to eliminate these things. The person who doesn't even want to know, his kashaya or his passion is so high, he doesn't even want to find out and want to live in this state of ignorance. They themselves call it a bliss. It's not a bliss. So according to Jainism, the laws of nature don't excuse anyone. Like if you by mistake place a hand on a fire, it doesn't mean that it's not going to get burnt because you just didn't know about it. It's going to get burnt. Laws of nature will do will take its course. And so if you have a kashaya of consuming these type of product, or if I have a kashaya consuming this type of products, then the law of nature, the kashayas are going to cause anxiety, although we may enjoy it or not enjoy it. So consumer products with the animal ingredients or animal testing, such as shampoos, creams, gel, toothpaste, cosmetics, other products such as shoes, purses, wallets, belts, detergents, medicines, even cars, the leather seats and the furniture, the leather and animal products, is also extreme form of violence. And think about it.
Really, I have a question. We just want to get the answer from common people. It means all students. My question is that usually non-vegetarian people, they just put a logic or argument before vegetarian people. They say that, they ask that, you consider that a tree is a jeev or not? We say, okay, yes, tree is a jeev. Then they say that if tree is a jeev and cow is a jeev, you kill tree or you just get fruits from tree, it is a part of tree, you are killing tree, and you're taking your just eating material. Like that, we are killing cows and goat, etc., these kind of things. So both are equal. So can anyone give answer of it? Is it equal or not?
Very good question. Anyone, can you please answer it? Anyone has any arguments or logic for it, please?
Yeah. More number of senses means more pain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ritesh, continue.
I thought someone else was also saying something. So let
Yeah,
them.
I was gonna say the same thing, that it's ekindriya and this is like panchindriya jeev, so it's more path.
Yeah, so
Okay.
higher number of senses, higher the amount of pain, and also, the amount of the cruel intentions that a person has while killing two indriya or panchindriya jivas are much higher than if one were to take food from the tree. And according to Jain diet is avoids even the excessive violence of even ekindriya jivas. So what we try to do is we try not to kill the entire tree. We don't try to uproot the entire tree. We try to take either a fruit or a vegetable to it. So the tree we're not taking the entire life. And also the excessive the objects that have excessive number of even ekindriya jivas, one sense living beings, such as potatoes, garlic, onion, carrots, and other underground roots and vegetables. Jains also try to avoid them for this reason, because it causes excessive violence of ekindriya jiva, and even that is also worth giving up according to Jainism.
Ankita here. So, if we compare two two beings with the same amount of senses, for example, like an animal and myself, right? So how is it fair to kill the animal but not me? Like, how would you compare that? Then it would be more of a discussion about level of consciousness. Manas ne mari nakho, so you killed a high morality vado manas versus an animal.
Yeah, if you think about the state of development about a living being, then it starts very much from there's a ladder of development, right? The one sense living beings are least consciously developed in their senses as well as consciousness. Similarly, as you go about higher senses, 2 senses, 3 senses, 4 senses, 5 senses, there's much more progressive development of living being, right? And the higher the development, more the pain and more the cruel intentions it takes for a person to kill that particular living being. Now, in the Panchendriya Jivas, in the 5 sense living beings, there is a ladder of development too. There is a classification of Sangni and Asangni Jiv. Sangni means the one who have man or mind, the asangni means the one who don't have mind. And then there is also a classification of prana and paryapti, is how well their senses are developed and what other capabilities they have acquired. So the human is considered one of the most advanced developed form of living being in that sense, in Jain classification. So yes, it takes much more, and plus it's such a widely condemned act to kill human, right? Be able to do that takes much more extreme form of kashayas. Does it answer your question, Ankita?
Yeah. And before but 1 month, there was an employee in my office. So he was by caste, he was Mohammedan, he was Muslim. So he just argued with me that Saurabhji, you consider I'm doing wrong thing if I'm just eating meat of meat. So it is not wrong thing. You are also not right for people, right person. I asked why. He told me that you are also just killing someone and we are also killing someone. I only gave one example to him, and by getting that example, he was fully satisfied by the time. So example was that if someone just pluck a flower, if someone plucks the flower, so government will not come and will not just put him into jail. But if someone kills a person, government will come, police will come, and he will just will be put in jail. It means he will be in prison. Like that, we are just taking fruits, we are taking brains. Of course, that things are just not completely production of non-violence. A partially violence is there, but the violence in meat, etc., these kind of things. So it is a huge amount of just violence and huge amount of killing people, killing creatures. So he was that time he was fully satisfied when I just gave example of police, that if you just pluck the flower, police will not come to catch you. But if you kill someone, so definitely police will come and just put you into jail. So this is example you can give to that person who is in favor or who just put this kind of argument for you, that tree and cow both are equal. Okay,
I have a question.
yeah.
My daughter is 4 years old and she goes to school. Of course, they serve meat and everything to her friends, but I have written down her everything in the allergy list, like eggs and meat and fish and everything. But what happens is the child sitting next to her is eating meat, and she knows. I don't know how. I just explained her once or twice that we don't kill something and eat. It's a dead body. I explained her that chicken has a mother, and you know how if somebody takes you away, how would I feel? And that's how I explained her. Somehow she got it, and she's very clear about it, that we don't eat meat, we don't kill anything and eat. Even when we walk on the grass, she tells me, Mama, don't walk on the grass, spiders will be killed. So she knows everything, but what happens is she goes to that environment where everybody eats everything, and she told me that, Mama, okay, I understand we don't eat meat and chicken, but why my friends eat that? Aren't they Jain? I told her, no, they are not Jains. Are they bad? And what happens is she tells them sometimes, you are bad because you eat meat. So I don't know how to explain her that that's their thing, that they eat, but we don't eat. And now she has more and more questions, so I get confused sometimes. So what do I tell her? Why do they eat and we don't eat? That's okay for them to eat.
Well, very good question. And actually, this situation nowadays is not just unique to US, but also in India. In fact, in Indore, right, Saurabh, you may be also facing a similar situation with your kid, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so first of all, you will have to continuously explain to your daughter about the vegetarian and non-vegetarian. You will have to make aware each and every time to her. And you can say clearly that those people who are killing someone and taking meat, they are of course not good. But you have not to argue with them. Okay, because you cannot make them understand. You can say
but what happens is they are kids and they fight. She tells someone you are bad and they complain their parents, and their parents come to teacher and they say, oh, this child is saying something to my child, and it's huge. That scene, that I want to avoid. So
no, you
yeah,
can clearly instruct to your daughter that daughter, please don't tell anyone bad or good,
right.
but do your work and you have not to eat. It's my instruction and guideline to you. You can clearly say.
Right.
When she will grow
don't
up,
judge others, right?
automatically will understand.
Try to
Okay.
form that habit of not judging others. Just this
Right.
we do this for ourselves only.
Yeah. Okay.
I would add that, especially at that
Right.
age, being sort of a pediatrician and thinking about developmentally of a child's brain, teaching them tolerance is very important. So it
Okay.
is okay to tell them that it's not, we don't judge other people. That is not our job. We don't judge other people who choose to do the wrong things. We do what's right for us. And what's right for us is not to eat non-veg food and participate in that lifestyle. But that doesn't mean that we make fun of those other children who do, and it doesn't mean that we are cruel to those other children who do. That also goes against our Jain way of life. So that's sort of the way that I've explained.
Indulging in finding faults and judging others is just we are violating our First Amendment. I would say we are
That's
totally
a good point.
going
Yeah.
against our Jain philosophy.
So I can introduce a new principle to her that this is what also Jainism. Right.
And this habit of judging others starts from the family. Parents, kids just learn from our environment, pick up this habit. So forming this habit at home with daily interactions, with each and every interaction would be very helpful, I think.
True. Thank you. Thank you.
And do you know the problem in US is that other students, other children, they are taking meat and your daughter is not taking. But the problem with my daughter and with my son is that they are not taking potato and onion. So each and every time we have to just give clear instruction, bete, it will not be eatable for you. Okay, Papa, why should I not eat? Even my friend, they're taking that. Then I say there are many jeep, and then this is not good. We are Jain, so we will not eat. Now he's clear. Now my son is clear that I have not to eat. Papa, I will not take onion and potato because these things are full of jeep. Continuously,
I will narrate one incident that I recently occurred. Right? Okay. Many of you know that I visited Indore a couple of months ago, right? And I went to Saurabhji's place. I stayed there for a week. I had a very good time with his family. Saurabhji's nephew, his name is Granth. So we went out to market, Saurabhji and his nephew and me and Saurabhji's daughter, and they wanted to buy something from our Ramdev store. And then I just casually, jokingly asked Granth, "Hey Granth, why don't we eat eggs? What's wrong with it?" I just jokingly asked him. So he stared at me like this for a minute. He was like, "Hum Jain thodi na hai." He had such a. It was good to see the level of understanding that he had and the tolerance that he had developed. That no, this is not something that I want to participate in. And why are you questioning me like this?
What Preritji, what I have just seen, or what I have just felt in this world, that we are studying Jain religion. So all people in this world, even Jains, they are not ready to follow the principles of Jain religion. They are not aware about that. We are like an antique person. In the vision, in the perception, in the view of our, we are like a joker who are not taking, just eating meat. They're not just drinking. They're not attending party. Even they're not taking potato. They're talking about non-violence. They're attending temple. They're doing pujas, taking classes. So in the view of common people, we are like a joker. Okay, so don't just our Ketanji told that we have to clearly instruct to our child that not just to others, but know yourself and what the correct thing, you have to do that. You can instruct, and I am continuously instructing to my daughter and son. Okay, Preritji.
Very good discussion. Anyone has any other questions?
Yeah, Prerit. So, how does this relate to extreme violence, non-veg food to stress? That's something I was not clear.
Yeah. You remember the definition of stress? What we defined? What was the definition of stress? You remember?
No, Prerit.
Definition of stress as we defined was like, let's go back. So stress is the unnatural behavior of Jeev. And what did we call unnatural behavior? Unnatural behavior of Jeev is what? This is the unnatural behavior, right? Extreme. So not only the things that we call stress are the cause. A lot of times patient, when he goes to the doctor, the patient may very well think that I'm fine, I don't have anything. But the doctor will come and tell the patient that, hey, hold on, you're not fine. These things are going on within you, and you are not aware of it. Just because you're not aware of it, you doesn't mean you are not sick. Just like that, what Jainism is telling us is that, okay, although there are behaviors that we seem to enjoy, or we think that it's not really causing any stress to us, but they are the unnatural behavior and adding stress to us. And they are this wrong belief, wrong understanding, at the same time kashayas. And kashayas, and then the anxiety occurring from those kashayas, all whether we recognize it or not, it's a stress. So now, if you think about kashayas, what are the behaviors occurring from kashayas? Would you call the non-vegetarian lifestyle and the cruel? First, what concluded is cruel intentions. Would you consider a stress? Like say, if someone were to do a cold-blooded murder, would you call it a stress?
Yes.
So then, the non-violent lifestyle is a cold-blooded murder, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Whether we choose to do it knowingly or whether we choose to remain ignorant, it's still a cold-blooded murder.
Right.
So then, isn't it a stress?
Yeah. Yes. By definition, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't cause you any mental stuff, but it's by definition, it's still a stress.
Yeah,
Then.
the thing is, see what we have narrowed our own subjective definition of stress so subjectively. We only think that whatever we don't like is only stress. See, that's the peculiarity of Jainism. Okay, to us, only things that we don't like is stress. So only hatred is stress for us. Okay, according to Jainism, any types of attachments or hatred or any type of behavior that may lead you to anxiety, whether you recognize that anxiety or not, it's a stress. Such a wider and comprehensive definition of stress here.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, we think that only things that I don't like, emotions that I don't enjoy are stress. That doesn't mean that's not right. I mean, even the murderers, sometimes who does the cold-blooded murder, they enjoy the murders. That doesn't mean it's not stress. It is stress, very much so. Okay. So next is a consumption of honey, alcohol, and other harmful substances. And now here is the question: what's wrong with honey, and what's wrong with alcohol? What's wrong with other harmful substances? Now, let me ask you this. Suppose if I were to do a suicide, and if I were to kill someone, which requires more kashayas, killing myself or killing others? Causing harm to myself would be more kashayas or causing harm to others? Anyone?
To self.
To self. Why?
Because you're going to face the pain as well. You should have extreme hatred towards something to overcome that pain and actually go ahead and do the act.
Exactly. So we have to have extreme kashayas, as well as the most amount of attachment we have is to our body, actually, if you think about it, and to our life. So if we are going to do something that will jeopardize that life altogether, must be something very, very extreme. Yeah. So now think about this. Violence doesn't mean just causing violence of others. The violence of ourselves too. So what does alcohol do? What does alcohol do? And other harmful substances, just like drugs and narcotics and tobacco and all those do. They provide any nutritional value. there is no debate over the harmful effects of alcohol, right? Is there any debate here? We have doctors, but there is no debate. Everyone knows it. So the reason people do it is for their enjoyment. And we know that that enjoyment, whether they call it or not call it stress, it is a stress. And we see so many alcohol-related events that takes place where, drunk driving, people losing their mental judgment and causing unethical and immoral and violent behaviors. So alcohol is also a very much extreme form of violence. And a lot of times alcohol, there is so much violence involved in the process of making alcohol, like beer and wine. To make wine, they go through this process of ripening this you call grapes. So for so long that so many trust jivas, living beings of 2 to 5 senses, they get produced in it and they get killed in that process. It's such a violent substance, anyways. And same with the honey. Honey has so many 2 to 5 senses living beings that consuming honey is also causing a lot of violence.
So
Now,
Prerit,
next time, yes.
I'm going to make it a little harder here. So what is the problem if someone drinks alcohol occasionally, just at social parties, couple of drinks?
A lot of times, okay, first of all, alcohol itself, as we mentioned, it's extremely violent, extremely violent substance made from a violent process, anyways. Violence of so many trust jivas, anyways.
Right.
Then consuming that, everything starts, what we are talking about is not that physical process only, okay? The stress is very much in a state of share, right?
Right.
Would someone from that act of consuming alcohol only when that person has that type of cruel intentions or act of those we would desire to go to that extent. So what we want to do is we want to refrain from stress, and a lot of times things start with just one event, right? A lot of times cigarettes and the addictions, they start with what? Just one event. It's easy to trip. When a person goes into that environment, it's so easy for a person to slip. We may think, okay, how many times we see instances where people may be drinking occasionally, but something, some event that may happen in life where they become so depressed and start drinking like habitual drinking. So all these reasons are there for avoiding alcohol consumption. Does it make sense, Pritesh?
And the one more reason we can add over here, that alcohol is an intoxicated thing. Once you start to take it, gradually you will take once in a month, then after you will take it twice in a month, twice in a month, then it will come in your habit. And intoxication, it means regularly your body will demand that, and you will be the regular alcohol taker.
Does that answer your question, Pritesh?
Can you say that again, Saurabhji?
Yeah, alcohol is an intoxicated thing. So if
Right.
you just say that, occasionally I will have to take in parties to maintain my social status, or to maintain my business, etc. So if you take it once in a month in one party, definitely alcohol is having these kind of particles that it will just go in your body. They will demand more and more. So this habit will be converted into twice in a month, thrice in a month. Then you will have to take continuously.
True.
What I have just inquired from those people, they are heavily drinker. So I have just asked, why are you just taking this alcohol? Even you know that your family has completely destroyed, you are in financial problem, your body has been so deteriorated. So he told me, Saurabhji, it was a long just tale about my life. When I was 20 years old, so I used to take only once in a month in only parties. Then gradually, I'm so habitual of taking alcohol that my all business, my family, each and everything has been completely destroyed. Live example, a person to whom I know.
So next is a food cooked through or obtained through cruel means. For example, milk nowadays acquired through modern dairy industry is extremely cruel, and one has to have a tremendous attachment to consume that, to have that. And you can search Google, and you can search YouTube to see the amount of pain and cruelty that these cows go through to obtain milk nowadays. Similarly, consumption of food items beyond their time limits. Also, I forgot to talk about one point. Cooking and food consumption at night involves extreme violence of visible and invisible thrust jivas. So whether we identify it or not, first thing is to identify it. Whether we are doing it or not, that's a next step. Whether to leave it or not, but first thing is identification. That it involves a very very cruel amount of cruel violence in eating at night, because a lot of times we think that okay, I don't see any jeeves, but we know nowadays we don't see everything through our naked eyes. So, but cooking and food consumption at night involves extreme form of violence. There's, in Jainism, there are certain things that a householder can consume at night, and we can talk about those things, those like what fruits and vegetables or what other items that can be consumed and not cause extreme amount of violence. We can talk about all those things later on, but here we just want to mention the cooking and food consumption, regular meals. Also, consumption of food items that are beyond their time limits. Limits can be found in Jain scriptures such as Ratnakarana Travakachar, and all of these actually that we are talking about, everything can be found in Ratnakarana Travakachar. And so when we consume food beyond its time limit, we know that there are so many living beings, plus jivas, that gets produced in it, and so we cause violence of it. Also, consumption of certain types of fruits and vegetables that containing excessive thrust jivas, such as figs and cauliflower and some other, they are also extreme form of violence. And the reason we're talking about this is because we are not even talking about eliminating stress quite yet. We're talking about causes of stress, and these are the causes of uncontained extreme form of stress. And without, we need to at least recognize it. If we don't even recognize and understand it, there's no hope for improvement. So that's why next time we purchase our products, whether purses, whether it's a car, whether it's a toothpaste, or whether it's a cosmetic, we need to inquire about the ingredients and be very careful that we don't get involved in this type of lifestyle. And there are also circumstantial effects. When we consume these type of lifestyle, the intentions that bond, what type of karma do they bond, and what type of situations do they bring in future. We will talk about that when we talk about the consequences of stress in the third part of the workshop. And that over there you will see what type of seeds we may sow for our unhappiness, for our worldly unhappiness, so-called worldly unhappiness in future. So that's another reason why we need to avoid this form of extreme violence. And this is also coupled with the wrong beliefs. That makes it even worse, because person is not only doing it, he thinks that it's okay to do it, or there is no harm in doing it, or sometimes enjoy doing it. So that's even worse. So, are there any questions? We are almost out of time. We are out of time actually, so we need to stop. But are there any questions? We can address those questions.
Are we going to discuss gambling in next part, or it's?
Yes. Let me just give you overview of what we are going to discuss. We are going to discuss form of gross deceitful untruth, form of gross stealing, form of uncontrolled sexual desires, form of limitless greed and possessiveness. This whole presentation is out there on the website. And then 7 forms of addictions. Those are uncontained state of stress. Then we are going to talk about primary, the absolute causes of stress, that are the real reasons for the stress, such as kashayas and wrong beliefs. Then we talk about wrong beliefs and examples, and then we're going to talk about causes. So yes, that's coming up, Pritesh.
Okay.
Okay, 1 minute.
Yes.
1 minute. YGP, under the banner of YGP, we are making apps, Android apps, and we have planned for 100 apps, and one app has completed. After I think after this week, you can get this app on Play Store. I will show this on mobile. It is called Jain Pujan app. I think it would not be clear, no?
Yeah, Saurabhji, we cannot see much.
That is okay. Later, I will just send you link of. So
Now, one time we will organize a session where Saurabh, you can demonstrate all the projects that you have done. So we can discuss all that in a coming week or two. We will organize a session, maybe 30 minutes, where you can demonstrate the different material you have generated.
Okay, okay.
All right. So with that, if there are no questions, we will stop here. Thank you everyone for joining. And if there are any questions, please send us. And you can also visit our website. It's Jain YJP Virtual Classroom .netau.net. Again, Jain YJP Virtual Classroom .netau.net. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. See you all next time.
Thank you. Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.